Okay, DZ Igna, D4, and our opponent immediately goes with the Englund Gambit. This is a tricky line where after you take with the pawn, he's gonna try to win the pawn back with ideas of knight c6 and then queen e7, and then he's gonna try to check us right here on b4, and it turns into a fascinating line. Super risky. You can totally lose this game very quickly if you don't know what you're doing. Luckily, we do, so let me walk you through it. First, pawn takes on e5, and let's see, because there's also a side gambit where he plays c6. Interesting, or the Soller Gambit. Okay, so there is another line that I was a little bit more worried about. The Soller Gambit is ideas basically to develop the knight, and or I guess the queen as well. The knight's really the proper spot, but you could put the queen here and then bishop c5, but this is better. Solid so far. So we could try to pin the knight and force a trade. Um, it's not necessarily a bad idea. He does have a pretty big lead in development just because the knight's already out, but I'll go ahead and play knight f3, and we'll line up with the knight. Let's go ahead and okay. Pinning is a mistake here. Notice that if you pin, bishop takes, knight takes, because knight e4 would attack the bishop. So let's just block that off. I'm not trying to give up any sort of f2 ideas. I'm just gonna continue to develop my pieces normally. This bishop, I need to figure out where I'm gonna put it. And it's gonna be maybe e2, because I think he might have ideas of actually pinning my knight. So let's just play bishop e2, prevent that idea from occurring. And it's not too bad here, guys. It's not too bad. He pushes. Fascinating. I'll take. I think this is losing for him. His bishop has to back up. Okay. I'm gonna castle still. I'm not too afraid of h2. And okay, that's fine as well. If bishop takes, it's fine. We're gonna trade off queens. And I'm completely fine trading off queens. I want you to notice that we're up 2 pawns in this situation. We're gonna pin the knight, which is gonna be a nice idea here. This bishop doesn't really have much going for it. I'm okay with taking a past d pawn here because I think we can defend it, and I don't necessarily mind. There we go. So the best move here would probably be just to go ahead, take the bishop. Pawn takes back. Now we have an ISO d pawn, which you can target and mitigate the position that you're in. But unfortunately, in this situation, he's hanging his bishop. But just because he's given up a minor piece doesn't mean we should stop playing accurately. Before taking the bishop here on f5, go ahead and take on f6 because it comes with check. And then we take the bishop. And then we take the bishop. And notice that, yes, the rook can come to g8, but we're not that afraid of that position. This knight taking on c2 would be a mistake because the bishop can just come back and take the knight. We are completely anticipating that he'd try winning the rook here, but he's lost all his material. He's lost all his material. b4 is coming. I suspect that he will resign soon, even with the slight clock advantage. He's got no material. After the knight develops a c3, it's pretty much over. I want you guys to notice that he did play the Englund Gambit, but he didn't play the traditional Englund Gambit, which is after pawn takes, you get knight to c6. So we defend with the bishop. Queen to e7, knight to f3, and then queen check. The whole idea here is if the queen takes on b2. So let's say you back the bishop up, queen takes, and now he's attacking the rook. So I say to myself, okay, how can I protect the rook? Well, bishop c3 is naturally the best move, except it's a complete mistake because of bishop b4. And if you were to, let's say, take here, you're actually losing the rook on the spot. And also, in general, this actually the knight takes first, and then the rook is hanging. And if you try, I don't know, maybe this, you see how you just end up losing material very quickly. Or better yet, I'll put the queen on d2. Bishop takes, queen takes back because we have to defend the rook, but then queen c1 checkmate. So this line is a complete disaster. Does anybody know the best way to defend against the Englund Gambit after the queen takes on b2? Bishop c3 is a blunder. Yeah, knight out, knight c3. You're correct, user 14 and N. Knight to c3 with the idea that now you cannot take the rook. But then let's say knight to b4. What do you play against knight to b4 now? You want to move the rook and threaten. a4. So both a4 and rook b1 are completely losing. If rook b1, this looks like you're attacking the queen and you're gonna force him away, but actually knight to c2. Notice how the king is smothered, and the only piece that can take the knight is the queen. And now we've just lost the queen. Now, if our opponent was to play bishop b4, then yes, all day long, rook b1 is the correct move. But with knight b4, there's a whole new threat on c2. So actually, instead of attacking the queen, you first have to play knight to d4, defending c2. And then after an idea like c5, we can chase the knight away. Then we move the rook to b1, and then we start our attack. So he backs up, and we have choices here. We can play rook b3, or probably better yet, to do something like knight b5, attacking the queen. And you can see that after maybe queen a5, you're gonna get e4 in, defending this knight, and pretty soon knight to d5 is coming, and we're threatening c7, we're threatening the queen, this bishop's gonna come out, and material's also even, so we've actually completely refuted the Englund Gambit.